Good morning, friends. Good afternoon to some. Let's get ready to go film some makeup tips with Selena. All right, let's lay down some eyeshadow base. I like to use these liquid shadows as an eyeshadow base because it's basically my skin tone. And you know what? If you're ever wondering, Rose, you were very adamant about eyeshadow base. I was for a long time, and the reason why is because I feel that these types of bases, think MAC paint pot. Some of us might still enjoy it, and that's okay, but for me, they just don't dry right and they don't layer right for me. So I really stopped using that type of product. But I feel that recently the formulas have just gotten so universal that I'm able to use eyeshadow, a liquid eyeshadow like this, as a base. We have to evolve as artists. I'm going to use this palette. It's so convenient. I love it so much. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this shade and I'm going to press that in my crease first. I'm going to wipe my brush off on Sheila, and I'm using my Inner Rush brush, and then I'm just going to continue to tap. So the reason I wiped it off is that I might have had too much because these are wildly pigmented, that's one of the reasons they are so multi-purpose, is that level of pigment. Okay, that looks pretty good. Nice. And then I'm going to take this shade. That's going to go on my brow bone, and that will further blur everything together. Easy peasy. Then I'm taking the same brush. Sheila's in my lap. Sheila goes with me everywhere. And then we're going to take this shade and this shade. And I'm going to pack that mostly towards the front, and then a little bit towards the outer part of the eye. Easy peasy. There's a nice little eye look. I'm so excited because I got a restock of this while I'm here, and I love this liner. It's really good. You know, anytime you pick something up and you hear a click, it's always best to shake that for at least 20 seconds. You'll know how I get. Is it going to be a big wing? Is it going to be a little wing? What's it going to be today? Look at how precise it is. I'm so happy to have a restock. I'm going to try to do a little wing. I can't be trusted. One flick of the wrist and I got the Nike swoosh. Perfect. Okay, this is what we ended up with. I love wing liner. I know this might not be a daytime wing to some of you, but listen, wing liner is why I got into makeup, and I just, that swoosh, I could go on and on about just that. I just love it. It's been a while since I've used the Rare Beauty mascara. It's a super fluffy one, I remember that. Clean off the excess. Ooh, the road noise here. If it's not leaf blowers and chainsaws, it's the traffic. Oh, that's nice. Ooh. And it's not weighing my lashes down. I like this, I forgot about it. Curl this one. Y'all know I hold this lash curler on as long as I can take it. I live my life like this. This is good stuff. I like this mascara a lot. It gives fluff but separation. It's not weighing down my lashes. Let's add a little bit more over here and see what happens. I don't want to get too wild. I really like it. Well, thank you for reminding me I like this and putting it in my bathroom, Rare Beauty. And then I'll get the tips of the lashes now. Whee! All right, let's take these off. We'll get started on complexion. These are from Peter Thomas Roth, by the way. These are the gold something. I forget the name of them, but I can't live life without putting on my eye cream and then putting these on top now. Let's do our green typology corrector. Just look at me wrong and that gets red. What is life if we just can't make our own selves laugh? And then for these areas, I'm going to use the end of this one because I want it to stay a little bit more pigmented, because I'll put concealer on top of that. I should say more concealer. I'll put concealer here, but not as much. So I'll place the green a little heavier there, and then I'll use the fluffier side of this brush and I'll tap and diffuse over my cheeks. Oh, Oh, that worked so nicely. For what? Do y'all remember, some of you have been with me a long time, you remember in my old house, that road I used to live on, that was like a country road, and people would drive down at 100 miles an hour. I'm not joking. And it was so loud. The speed limit was 35, by the way, but people were wild. Oh, it's giving me flashbacks. Hey, I got a whole hour. I'm not gonna get wild because I do need to get dressed and I just need some time to kind of rehearse what I was going to say. So for my videos, I don't ever rehearse. I'm just doing whatever. But I mean, when you're filming with 𝗕𝗲 𝗂𝗵𝗂𝘀𝗂, you kind of don't want to waste her time. So I want to practice. Okay, a little bit of practice. 𝗕𝗲𝗂𝘀𝗁. Okay, I'm going to use the C32 really quickly. I want a little bit more pigment through here. Whenever you want more pigment out of your product, you want a denser brush. And whenever you want the least amount of product, you want a fluffy brush. These are things I wish somebody had told me. That under eye is wonderful. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the concealer. I'm going to apply some here. I'm using the tip of the applicator. That way I get a really small amount of the product. I don't want to quite wear foundation, but I want just a little bit more coverage. Nice. And then for this application, I'm going to use that fluffy brush again. But y'all have to pretend like you don't see nothing. Still tapping. I'm using the center of the brush to tap. You could swirl with this one too. I'm not much of a swirler or a twirler, but this is definitely made for some swirling. You just do the technique that you feel most comfortable with. I like to tap because I get kind of the product to move faster and more evenly. But also by tapping, we just keep more control of the product. So that's one of the reasons I tap. I'm going to switch to the side. What you just saw me do there was make sure that I didn't have any product on there. Nice, that little freckle. And him fight all the time. Spicy price, I know, but oh, it's so good. So I'm going to use this shade. Honestly, start with a super tiny amount because this stuff is pigmented. Do you see that already? But it's a really nice universal shade. And then if you needed it to really be built up, you absolutely could. I feel like that was too much. See that? I barely tapped. We're fine. You know why we're fine? Because we're still in a wet state. I know my sayings are weird, but they mean something. I promise I'm not just jibber jabbering, yapping. I do a lot of yapping, but I try to make it helpful yapping. Oh, that's so good. And this is what I was saying, by still being in a wet state, we can take our brush that might have a little bit of that concealer on and melt it in. Easy peasy. I just did my powder your lash curler technique. It's so good. And what's happening, I'm going to explain the why really quickly. When you powder your lash curler, not only does it protect your lashes, think of it like you're greasing a baking sheet for cookies. If you do it right before, I'm talking right before your mascara sets, you're locking it in place, you're locking that curl in place with powder. And then sometimes I'll even do this while they're on there. It's so good, and it holds because you've locked it in with powder. And you know what's going to make you look extra glowy is if you have your bronzer on as eyeshadow and then your bronzer out here. It just looks so cohesive. It's exceptional. It's just an easy way to look even more uniform and even. Now remember, we're still in a wet state. I don't know if that just makes sense in my head. I'm into peachy blush. I'm in my peach era. What is going on? Okay, let me give you a tip with this. So I'm gonna just do a dot, right? And I don't like to dot anything directly on my face for the most part. And the reason why is because no matter the brand, that's a little sponge. And what do sponges do? They like to absorb. So it could take away everything I have right now. Even though I don't have on that much, it could still take it away. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is we wanna make it even. We wanna even it out. It doesn't have to be perfect, that's good. We need to even it out. It's gonna matter in just a second when we grab a C41, because we don't always want, I'm gonna wind up with a ton of blush, but we don't always want that. So we're gonna use that fluffier brush. We want less pigment. And I'm picking it up only towards the front. You see that? Okay. Now we're gonna start to tap this on. And we can always build it up. I teach every single day, it's better to build than it is to, I grabbed more, than to be in a hurry, dot this on our face, and then have way too much. Delightful. And then also what you just saw me do is I lay down a light little wash, kind of a transition, okay? You lay down a transition of your blush. I'm seeing that blush is just a really, really big trend, but sometimes we ain't here to judge. But I want you to look your absolute best. Sometimes I see blush kind of applied all the same color, and that's a pretty look, but there's also another way to do it, and that's the way I like to do it when I'm out and about in the daytime, is I'll lay down a wash. Think of it as a wash, okay? We have our little bit of a wash, then we'll go in right about here, right in the center of it, and we'll lay down that little bit more of an intensity. See how it's kind of flowing all around and it transitions into the lighter. Going from dark to light is always a good idea. Okay, so I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. And then there was a super loud noise anyways, and then I got frightened, but I'm using the bronzer shade. Look at how intense it can be. I could even build it up more. And then I'm gonna soften the edges. I'll just take the end of this brush. I'll look up and just soften. See how that has a really nice angle to it? No, you can't, because I don't know how to do a makeup tutorial apparently and show product. Look at this brush, isn't it nice? I'm just softening the edges. Perfect. And now, I don't have any powder on my face. I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade and I'm just going to set right underneath here. We're doing that with in a rush brush. Why? Because we don't want intensity. We just want a little bit of brightening and a little baby set. Nice. If you really, really wanted it to be intense, pick it up with a puff. Let's go back in with some mascara on our bottom lashes. Oh, that's perfect. Nice. This will go away, but I'm telling y'all, I'm nervous. I get hives. I'm a hivey girl. Okay, I'm gonna drink some water and then let me go figure out what lip. My lip's over there, so let me go grab that. I'm gonna do my favorite 𝗕𝗿𝘂𝘁𝗄𝗏 lip. You can see how pretty it is in the sun. California lighting, y'all. If I had this lighting at home, I don't know. I think I'd be insufferable. And then we can't forget the star of the show. Ugh, how good is this color? It's perfect. I love it. We love a thoughtful undertone range. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my makeup. And anytime you have a powder that has a little bit of a resemblance of your skin tone, it's just going to tie everything together and give you even more of a blur. It creates an illusion. I love this. I wear shade Natural, by the way. All right, my friends, I love y'all so much. Wish me luck. I'm gonna go get dressed and I'm gonna go visit with Selena. Love y'all.